What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a little bit different style of live stream that we're going to be trying out today. Kind of the theory behind this is going to be different than kind of the live with the viewers and the, pre-game, post-game streams that we've been doing in the past. Because with those, obviously, we stream for, half an hour to an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours. So with that, it's very different from this. However, for this one, it's going to be kind of a shorter thing. So it's going to be rewatchable as kind of a video style rather than it being a full stream that you have to watch 45 minutes of. We're only going to go until like Monday Night Football starts, so it'd probably only be about 15 minutes. But we wanted to talk about kind of some of the major issues, and we wanted to see what you guys are thinking in the comment section down below and in the live chat as well, what you guys are thinking about the Ravens' biggest problems right now, because we feel like there are definitely some issues to be addressed, and there are issues that the Ravens have that are not permanent issues, because some of them are hey, this guy's hurt. Nick Boyle's hurt. That's going to hurt the run game. Rashad Bateman's hurt. That's going to hurt the pass game. But I think the biggest thing that I want to start off with is tackling. The Ravens are not tackling. And it's not just, I think I put Patrick Queen in the thumbnail. I'm not specifically calling out Patrick Queen. The whole defense has struggled with tackling, but the most notable has been Patrick Queen because, he's the middle linebacker. But, I get there are some good players that the Ravens have gone against, but the Ravens are just missing on open field tackles. And you can't do that.
Absolutely. It's like you get taught this stuff in Pop Warner so much. I mean, hell, they got better equipment now in the NFL where, you roll out the tire and you pretty much, tackle it properly. So it's like you do all that in drills, you do all that things in practice. And why is it not translating to the game? Now, understand this. The NFL player is more faster. They're not stronger than what we used to watch. Watching the Ray Lewis versus Eddie Georges, or, Jamal Lewis going against like Larry Foote or Jerome Harrison. Those guys, those were true, gladiators. Not saying these young men now are not gladiators, but I'm talking about hard hat come to work, bring your lunch pail and things of that nature. Man, them dudes used to hit, and this league has become more of a softer league. In these days you have to be more efficient in the way you do things. So, when PQ trying to run through a guy like Ray Lewis used to, you can't do that. These guys are not scared to put their shoulder down and bump with you because the physicality is not always there. The only physical player that's still in the league right now, I would say offensively wise, Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I mean, just the way the guys plays now. And I see Felipe says that Reuben Foster is out there. Hey, Reuben Foster, if he's able to actually consistently get on the field, then I feel like that's, something that the Ravens could look at. But like tackling, I think is one of those big issues that somebody brought it up that we've been bad at tackling. Vid says we've been bad at tackling for 4 years. And that's very true. And when we're going up against teams, like one of the biggest keys that I had in my pregame against the Chiefs, or the video on Saturday for the Ravens game against the Chiefs, I talked about how tackling is the biggest thing and they need to make plays. And there were multiple plays, whether it was Pringle or Kelsey in that game, that just went right by so many guys. And I get it. Those guys are good football players, but we got some good football players on our defense and they got to make those tackles. And then you look at this Detroit game and DeAndre Swift, very good, promising young running back. But there were just situations where it was bad pursuit angles. Patrick Queen, and I want to say maybe it was Tyus Bowser at one point. They go after him, and they both kind of hit each other going after Swift. Swift is able to get free, and it's like, oh, look at this great play by Swift. I mean, they're just missing guys in open field. Now, when they're in the hole, they're seemingly doing a good job of wrapping up, but it's when they're in space, the Ravens are really struggling. The only corner I've seen that's been able to tackle is Ben Marlin. Anthony Averett has struggled. Jimmy Smith, really, we haven't seen a lot of him. Tavon Young isn't a great tackler by any means. So, like, just overall trying to figure out how to tackle and figuring out those pursuit angles. And maybe it's chemistry. Maybe, one guy thinks he's going, playing the conservative, shield him to the outside, and the other one's going for the hit. And they're just doing it improperly, or they just really need somebody to come out there and figure it out. Because if you're going to let those guys get open in coverage, which they've been decent in coverage. They've played tough tight ends and things like that. Some good running backs.
Right.
They got to figure out how to make those tackles, because when we go up against the Titans, if we play them in the playoffs, when we go up against the Browns and we have to tackle Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, when we have to tackle Najee Harris, heck, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones on the Packers, like there's a lot of really tough guys to bring down, and the Ravens seemingly are not looking like they're going to be able to do that. And if you look at the playoff teams, all of them, I would say, except for Buffalo, have a really good open field player. Like maybe you could say Diggs is great in the open field. I'm not going to disagree with that, but like, Singletary and Zach Moss are nothing crazy in my opinion. But
right.
I mean, all those teams, I mean, the Chiefs, Tyreek, Kelsey, Clyde, those are all really tough tackles. And then obviously the Browns, they even got OBJ, very difficult to tackle. So I don't know. It's very difficult. And Vid says Lamar proves how poor tackling is. I know he's great, but stiff arming a D lineman instead. Yeah. No, like there's a lot of situations where guys just aren't being as aggressive. And I don't know what, maybe that's, coaches are just like, don't get the flag, but they're too afraid to get the flag to actually make the tackle. Maybe that's it.
I'm telling you, the game's got faster, but the athletes getting smaller. And with the athletes getting smaller, not all of them have the durability. I mean, hell, look at our team. 20 people on IR. I think before that, was it San Francisco had the most players on their team on the IR list as well. So, I mean, these guys are not taking care of their body well. They're not taking care of their body well. I don't know what's going on, with the strength and conditioning coaches inside the facilities, but it's something's got to give, man. Something's definitely got to give. Because, I'm pretty sure, once you started, rooting for the Ravens, you watched Ray Lewis, you watched the days of you watched the days of Ed Reed, and when you seen in those times when we went against the Steelers, you seen the Troy Palomalus, the Jerome Harrisons, the Larry Foots. Hines, hell, even Hines Wood. I never saw a wide receiver of his stature will hit you hit you blindsidely and still smile about it. Hell, even Jerome Bettis pushing maybe about 260, 280 and running a 4.3 and running over some of the best linebackers. So, like I said, man, it's crazy. Like now today, you still had to be aggressive, but you also had to still be smart. Who's our best tackler right now? I might have to say Calais.
Yeah, like
I might have to say Calais. He's between him and Chuck Clark. Just Chuck Clark is a true technician. You know what I'm saying?
I see some people saying Deshaun Elliott. Deshaun Elliott, if you want somebody to lay the wood, it's Elliott. But he also misses with a lot of pursuit angles. Yeah. It's like he's either going to lay the guy out or he's going to miss the guy. And Odafe Oweh, I would love to say he's the best tackler. I've seen a lot of situations where he is not tackling and he is not getting the guy. And that's just because he's young. He's not able to make those plays. But another thing that I want to get into is the consistency on offense. The consistency on offense, I feel like, is something that the Ravens don't have right now. And yes, obviously, Rashad Bateman, he can come back. But the thing that I'm most looking for is the consistency in the run game.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, the Ravens not having kind of even just like not even a featured back, but a back that they seemingly go to consistently is hurting them. Because, last year, there were two backs at the end of the year, and it was J.K. and Gus. But you always knew he was one of those guys. And they were able to get in a rhythm, and the Ravens offense was able to get going and find their consistency. But it seems like, oh, hey, the first drive, it's Tyson, and then Latavius Murray comes in, and then Devontae Freeman comes in, and they're all just kind of going out, and they're not getting their foot in the ground. They're not really being prepared for the next, drive. And that not only hurts that drive, but it hurts the future drives because the Ravens offense seemingly, especially against Detroit, started off pretty good. They were doing a lot of, passing that was having a lot of success. But then at the same time, they get into the second half and it kind of was just like, what's going on? They're not really trying to run the ball anymore. And I understand it wasn't working very well, but now that they get those deep balls, and I know what Hollywood dropped, 3 touchdowns in the game, but Detroit was afraid of the deep ball. It was very clear, after the Ravens had a lot of big plays, they were like, okay, let's back some guys out. But because the Ravens hadn't gotten that any running backs really involved, or even Lamar Jackson really involved in the rushing game, I feel like that's hurting them in their consistency. And I don't think it's really Greg Roman or anything like that. I just feel like they have to pick one. And I see Felipe asked, do you think they'll activate Bell for this next game? You know who I think they might activate? Nate McCrary. Nate McCrary could be a guy that knows the offense, and we know he can catch the ball. I just feel like Le'Veon Bell will be tough unless he gets a lot of carries. I feel like Le'Veon Bell does not want to come into a situation and play and get 3 carries.
You know what the funny thing is? It's crazy that you say that they'll activate Nate. Tyshawn and Nate can be the next Kenneth Dixon and Gus Edwards. That's the crazy thing about it. They could be the next Kenneth Dixon and Gus Edwards. But, when we talk about the running game, I expected Tyshawn to get more carries. Like, I'm tired of saying, okay, Tyshawn's in there the first play. Okay, let's put Latavius Murray in there. Then Devontae Freeman. Honestly, Devontae Freeman is giving me Justice Hill vibes right now because he just don't know how to go north and south. I understand, as a lead guy that, you sometimes you can break down a guy, but honestly, you're not Atlanta Falcons Devontae Freeman. You're just Devontae Freeman trying to figure his way on the NFL team and make an impact. And right now, some plays you do, but 99% of the time that you've gotten in the game, you haven't really been helping us out. If anything, you've been helping us lose a lot of yardage, and even with Latavius Murray, he runs north and south, but when he's out there, he doesn't really know what he's doing. Let that young man, that understands the playbook, that knows the playbook, continue getting the reps. I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. You keep on taking him out at the one play, that's gonna hurt that young man's pride. And then when he comes back, he doesn't have that momentum no more. So something has to give. Like I feel like we literally this past Sunday we played to the competition. We played old school Ravens football and letting it come down to a field goal. A heart skipper is what I call them. One of those old school Joe Flacco games, one of those Kyle Bowler type of style games that we had to win down to the to a kick. And and honestly, some of the new Ravens fans, they have been spoiled. So they getting a taste of what I used to go through growing up right now with these, nail biter games. I mean, it's good to see that we come out clutch. I mean, I'm glad that we're 2-1, but something definitely got to give as far as this offense. And, that offensive line, it's going to be a long season. Even though we pulled out the win, it's still going to be a long season. I still see Alejandro Villanueva get beat on a couple plays. Even saw Zeitler get blown up a couple plays too. We definitely got to figure something out. Even with this rotation of Ben Powers and Cleveland, it's like stop taking away momentum. Stop taking away momentum from these guys. If they're hot, let them keep going. I mean, that's what we do with a train. You keep on putting coal in it for it to go faster. You gotta keep feeding that. So they'll figure it out one way or another.
Yeah, and we'll go a couple more minutes here. If you guys weren't here at the beginning, the goal of this stream was to kind of be like a live video. Is really kind of the goal of the stream right here. I said it at the very beginning. Not a lot of people were in here, but I don't know if you guys like this. Let us know. We can try and do this a little bit more often because I feel like getting your kind of like live feedback on what we're saying, I feel like is really really helpful for us. Adding in extra points and things like that. If not, we can just record these types of videos and we can just post them, at whatever time we end up posting them at and stuff like that. But let us know if you like kind of being in the live chat and stuff like that. I feel like it's probably pretty fun. But the last thing that I want to talk about is that the Ravens and keeping leads. Because it seems like this team, the whole thing about this team the last couple of years is like Ravens get a lead, it's over.
Yeah.
You can't come back on that. Well, the Ravens had a lead in the Raiders game. The Ravens had a lead in the Lions game. But maybe it has to do with that consistency and that they couldn't get, because it always seemed like when the Ravens have, played lesser opponents in years past, they get out, they don't stop. They just pile on, and all of a sudden it's 45-6, and they're just absolutely wiping the floor with them. But instead, they're not getting that consistency, and they're not getting the level of play that they need to be at in order to be able to consistently put up a lot of points to win those games by significant margins and not allow those comebacks to happen. Because when they start stalling out, because this has not been an offense that has ever really been a stall out offense in Lamar Jackson's history.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's Lamar's fault or anything like that. I'm just saying since we've had Lamar, the Ravens have been great at just pile driving every opponent into the ground whenever they're better. They're not doing that. Is that because of the consistency, do you think, Joshua, or is that just a compilation of their missing offensive pieces and things like that?
I definitely say, we're working with a new offensive line. On top of that, we don't even have our Pro Bowler left tackle. Missing out on our actual featured. I look at JK and Gus both as two featured running backs on our team. We're missing those guys. We don't have the upgrade yet in our rookie and Rashad Bateman. No Nick Bull. I mean, I love seeing how they are using the weapon out there and they actually feeding him the ball. I'm proud that they was able to give Dev a actual passing route and he caught the ball and got a touchdown. But like we keep talking about, we got to see more consistent things, man. As far as the run game, that's our bread and butter. We can't go away from that. If it's not working, okay, so what? We didn't watch Mike Vrabel in Tennessee continue to run the ball till it worked, and even when it didn't work, you still fake it and run a play action play. You got to do some things for creativity. You got to do some things for creativity, and if we don't. In those fourth and outs, we can't start that because when we start that, we put that defense back out there and we see what the defense look like. We don't have a real breather. They start looking sluggish. They start getting worn out. And in the past three games, these teams have actually been running the ball on us, and we can and even passing and getting actual good yardage. We can't let that keep going like that neither. So maybe it's just early for us to be, I guess. I wouldn't say panicking or worrying it. We're just calling out some certain things that we see that we don't, we will want to get better. So, I hope it continues to get better. I hope it gets better.
Oh yeah. All right. I think that's going to do it for this stream. If you guys kind of like this, like live short stream kind of like video topics, obviously the pregame, postgame streams, we will do like that. Hopefully I'm not lagging too bad, but thank you everybody for watching. Make sure to subscribe for the Daily Ravens content and, absolutely let us know what you guys think about these shorter streams and stuff like that. We can try and get a better schedule with how they work because I think it worked well. I like seeing what you guys thought, in the comment section. We'll try and not do it like 15 minutes before Monday Night Football. I was thinking Monday Night Football was at 8:30, not 8:15, but thank you everybody. We will see all of you again next time.